You assume that you are a distinct being who perceives a world outside yourself. You look, think, act, and everything seems to confirm your independence. Existence appears divided, you on one side and what you call God on the other. Yet Ibn Arabi questioned this division. He said that creation is not separate from the Creator, but the means through which the divine recognizes itself. What you call you may not be an observer looking at reality, but a point through which reality becomes aware of itself. If so, the question changes entirely. You are not asking what God is, but what it means to be the reflection through which the one perceives its own being. When you see who or what is truly seeing. Ibn Arabi lived in 12th century Andalusia, where philosophy, theology, and mystical experience competed to define truth. Philosophers argued that reason could reach God. Theologians claimed only revelation could. Ibn Arabi moved beyond both positions. He spoke of the unity of existence, the view that there is only one being, manifesting through countless forms. To him, reflection was not poetic language, but the metaphysical structure of reality. The divine appears as the world in order to know itself through awareness. The human being, conscious of this fact, becomes the mirror of that knowing, a witness to the witnessing itself. You begin from habit. You say, I am thinking. I am deciding. This, I feel central, the one constant among changing thoughts and roles. Yet every definition of yourself depends on memory and belief. When these fall silent, what remains? Ibn Arabi asked whether the I that claims ownership of experience truly exists at all, or whether it is a reflection of divine awareness momentarily identified with a form. You assume that being conscious makes you separate from what you observe. But what if consciousness is not yours? What if it belongs only to the real, appearing in you as thought and perception? If the sense of I is borrowed from the one, where does individuality truly begin? For Ibn Arabi, reflection means revelation. The real does not produce copies of itself, but expresses its qualities through every existent thing. Each being displays a particular divine attribute: wisdom, strength, beauty, or life. Humanity, however, carries the potential to be aware of this reflection. You are not only a form within existence, you are the point where existence realizes that it exists. When you think, I am, it is not a personal statement, but a universal one spoken through you. Every capacity you claim, to know, to feel, to act, is an aspect of the real appearing as your life. The question then deepens. If all qualities belong to the divine, what remains that can belong to you? You often treat awareness as personal property, something contained within the limits of your mind. But awareness itself cannot be divided. It does not begin or end with any individual. It moves through them as a single, continuous field. Ibn Arabi said that the divine knows itself through awareness appearing in forms. The mind you call yours is one of those forms. Thoughts arise, but awareness is untouched. The sense of possession is an illusion created by identification. If awareness is universal and not individual, then individuality itself may be nothing more than awareness temporarily folded into a particular expression. Who owns what cannot be separated from the one who knows? Even if you accept that unity is the truth, you still experience difference. You feel finite while the divine feels infinite. Ibn Arabi explained this as the necessary appearance of relation. The one cannot recognize its own infinitude without appearing as the limit. The perception of distance is how unity becomes conscious of itself. Separation, then, is not an error, but a function of knowledge. You perceive duality so that awareness may experience the meeting of opposites, the known and the knower, the seen and the seer. Yet if this opposition is only a way for unity to appear, can the sense of separation ever be more than a temporary perspective? To know the divine is not to add something to yourself. It is to remove what obscures the fact that you have never been other. Ibn Arabi said that true knowledge is unveiling, the clearing of mistaken identity. The intellect may analyze concepts of God, but realization dissolves the division between knower and known. In that moment, awareness recognizes itself as the source of all knowing. The search ends not with discovery, but with remembrance. You do not reach the divine through effort. You awaken as the divine's own recognition. If knowledge is simply being aware of what is already true, what then is ignorance but the forgetting of this fact? If every being reflects the one, then every encounter carries metaphysical weight. Ibn Arabi said that love and justice arise naturally when this is seen. To love another is to love the same presence manifest in a different form. To harm another is to obscure that recognition. Morality, in this light, is not obedience but perception, the ability to see the divine wherever it appears. When awareness narrows into the self, arrogance and division follow. When it widens into unity, compassion becomes the only possible action. Yet the question remains, if every act is divine in origin, how does responsibility retain meaning within this vision of oneness? You begin to see that nothing you call mine truly belongs to you. The body functions, thought arises, will move, but you do not initiate their source. Ibn Arabi described this as the unveiling of divine agency. The doer you imagine yourself to be is only a surface expression of a deeper activity. Existence acts through you as one continuous process. When this is understood, effort becomes participation rather than control. You are not the author of life, but its instrument. The freedom you sought through ownership appears instead through surrender. If all action originates in the one, who's left to claim or resist it? The inquiry returns to where it began. You thought you were a being looking toward the divine. Now you see that the looking itself is divine. What seemed like reflection was never duplication. It was the act of awareness turning upon itself. You are not apart from the real, nor identical with it in a finite way. You are the locus through which it knows it is infinite. When the question, "Who am I?" falls silent, it is not because the answer has been reached, but because the division it assumed no longer holds. Being remains, clear, undivided, self-aware. In this recognition, reflection and reality dissolve into a single knowing without subject or object. You return to the world of names, duties, and relations, but with altered perception. Nothing external has changed, yet everything feels continuous with one presence. Action arises, but it is no longer claimed. Choice happens, but it is seen as expression rather than possession. Ibn Arabi said that this is not escape from life, but clarity within it. The real acts through all things, yet awareness of this does not erase individuality. It redeems it. The person becomes transparent to the source that sustains it. The reflection no longer mistakes itself for the image. It knows itself as the act of seeing that has no separate seer. The question that began this inquiry now finds its quiet resolution. What if you are God's reflection? The answer is neither yes nor no. It is the realization that reflection and the one reflected are inseparable. To exist is to be the way the divine comes to awareness of its own possibility. The sense of you was never an error, only a form of knowing that mistook itself for the source. Now, understanding replaces division. There is no path left to travel, no discovery to complete. There is only awareness, steady and whole, observing itself through all forms. The reflection remains, but the illusion of separation has ended. What you are is what you see.